Hey guys, welcome to the Africa podcast. My name is Muyiwa.
My name is Oduani Femi.
And I'm Emmanuel.
So it seems like there was a lot of funding news this week, like plenty funding news. Or is it just me?
Right. There are not that plenty as we noticed in the last few months of 2020. But well, for a week, I think that's a lot. We have three that we reported, two from Kenya and one from Ghana. And
Okay.
one of them is a clean tech, agri-tech, clean tech. So both clean tech, agri-tech startup, Sun Culture is Kenya-based. So it has received $11 million in debt funding. And
So it's
the
debt,
focus
not
is...
equity.
Yes, it's not equity, it's debt. It's debt funding. So $11 million, $11 million in debt funding to focus on the market it already is in Kenya, Uganda, Togo, Ivory Coast, Zambia, and Senegal. So this is what Sun Culture does. Sun Culture provides solar energy powered irrigation solutions to smallholder farmers in these African countries. So since these smallholder farmers are not, they don't have like the money for mechanized farming equipment, we provide these solutions for them in subsidized rate and also as a pay-as-you-go, on a pay-as-you-go saving basis. So the plan has always been, since the past 7 years that the startup has been operating, the plan has always been to reduce CO2 emission in the country. And it's quite interesting that this is one of the sectors, like the next sector after fintech, that got more funding in 2020, according to Brita Bridges report for the year, startup funding report for the year. So I think more investors are looking to help the continent stay green. And yes.
So that's like the next frontier now after fintech. Although fintech startups are still getting funding, but they are more in the API space now.
API.
So the Monos, the Okras, and
The
Ping Me, the US based one.
That's focused on Africa. Yes. So moving on from that, still in Kenya, Truck, the Uber for trucks. Yes.
So kind of like Kobo 360 and the
of
lorry
Kenya
systems.
Okay.
Yes.
Kenya.
So they have raised an undisclosed pre-seed funding just recently. And the plan is to use this to also focus on other East African countries. So Truck, like we said, like Kobo 360 deals with peer-to-peer logistic movements between East African nations and also within cities in Kenya. So the plan for this is to also deepen their services in this country, given that last year it actually experienced 300% revenue growth from the services they rendered, and it's kind of happened across board for most online trucking businesses like Kobo 360. Kobo 360 also claimed to have their best month revenue-wise in October last year. So it is quite understandable because...
in the heat of the pandemic.
Yes, because these services are, one, they are digital, so less people meeting, less human interaction. Yes. So and apart from that, they are used to transport food and drugs, which are like the most essential products during the lockdown and generally during the pandemic. So yes, we hope that like they do more. Yes, they do more. The pandemic is still on and everybody's trying to go digital. So fully, they do more. We wish them well. Yes, we wish them well. And yes, in Ghana, it's SFAN. It's a Ghanaian edtech platform focused on helping university graduates to be employable. So they've been around for 7 years too. And the focus has always been to help these people develop their capacity in the sense that they help them to write their resume, build proposals, or build their website, build business plan, anything that just puts them out there as employable, right? And they get that their business, that's how they make money. These people pay them
Okay.
to do it
So they
for
raised
them.
money also.
And okay, yes, they raised
Okay.
$250K in proceed by led by Ghana-based investor King Solomon's group. So the plan has always been to help university graduates to build capacity. But so with this fundraise now, the focus will now move from helping them to build CV, resumes, and proposal and all to a new initiative. It has been on since last year, actually. Ready for Work. That's the name of the initiative. So it's like an accelerator program where these
Okay.
entrepreneurs, these youths, can be trained in digital skills, which are like the most converted skills now, data analytics and other digital skills. They will now be trained. Of course, they will pay for it, but it's at least is to increase their capacity for them to get employed. And one of the perks that comes with it is that recruiters are also on this platform. So for you to go and get trained with them, you also get picked by
So
this
it's an
recruiter. So
online, a
it's
virtual
just
platform, right? Because I was trying to see how this can scale.
no, no, no.
Or it wasn't mentioned. Okay. Then I'm struggling to see how that can scale and
Yeah,
why they raised $250,000 proceed. Scale.
yeah, I'm even about to ask.
I think online actually works well for the model they were coming with. But for this Reddit for work, I don't think it can work that much as an online platform. You get so organizing training events is something that will be because people will want to collaborate, they want to network. So it's
Okay.
like one of the things they will use to sell their training events. So I think they will just have to mix it together, but it's not stated. It's not stated.
Yeah, whatever it is, I'm sure whoever invested did their due diligence and they know what they're using the money for. So all the best to all the startups that raised funding. It's good to see that they are not, none of them is fintech, because fintech still seems to be the darling of African investors in Africa. So
Fintech, right?
it's good to see clean tech, agri-tech, education. So all the best to them. All the best to them. So in the US right now, I think it's supposed to be Black History Month. And then next month is supposed to be International Women's Day. But it feels like International Women's Day came quite early this week. It came early.
Yeah.
It came this week.
Yes. Yes, we have a good news. I think it's like a good news to other parts of the world. Like Nigeria is blessing them. Okay, Nigeria is blessing Netflix and Nigeria is blessing the world. So Evi Atawadi, who used to be the general manager for West Africa for Uber and also the head of products for Uber, has joined Netflix after spending 6 years with the ride-hailing company. So yes, she made some marks. Yes, she was behind how Uber came to like the 3 African cities that
the West African cities?
Uber is in
you mean?
Lagos, Abuja in Nigeria, is in Accra in Ghana, and Abidjan in Ivory Coast. She made that happen, and yes, she also made a lot of things happen in the payment.
I remember when Uber had issues with payments just in 2015, and with the issue with the dollar and all of that, this new administration and cards were not working. Nigerian cards were not working, and then she spearheaded the switch
cash
to
payments.
cash, because before then they were not accepting cash, and then she was one of the first people to adopt Flutterwave to resolve the issue they were having with card payments. So yeah, she did a lot in that area. Yeah.
Now that she's joining Netflix, she will be focused on EMEA region, that is Europe, Middle East, and African regions. She will be the director of payment, and most of the countries in this region are also developing, so they have a lot of things to be brought into their payment to attract people to use Netflix. Hopefully Netflix will be able to compete well with multi-choice Showmax in Africa.
Lifemi, you sound like you're taking sides with Netflix. Is Showmax not to be supposed to
No,
be an African product? Is it
it
because
is, no, but
now
Netflix
there's a
is keying
Nigerian
into the
heading?
is keying into the Niger dream with Netflix
Yeah.
Niger.
Well, I guess
So
so. I
hopefully
mean, yeah, it
we
will be
just
interesting to see
we
what she
just
will do
want a
though,
leveled
because
playing ground, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't watch.
yeah,
Yeah, I
I
couldn't
know.
watch Champions League with Showmax, like the upgraded version. I couldn't watch Premier League. So they said Champions League is only available to their South African audience. I'm like, why? Why? So
It must be a licensing issue. Oh, but the Premiership is available.
yeah, Premiership
English
is
Premiership.
available. Yeah.
Interesting.
And other
Anyway,
leagues are available.
whatever beef you had, it's interesting to see what she will do there, because I know that Netflix is already testing micro subscriptions in India, where people can subscribe to mobile only and standard
Subscriptions.
definition versions of Netflix, and they can pay. They don't have to pay with debit cards. They can buy like scratch cards, and then get, oh, maybe 1 hour or 2 hours or 1 week of Netflix, stuff like that. So she'll probably be
Interesting.
very instrumental in spreading that into West Africa and the Middle East and whatever. So it'll be interesting to see what she will spearhead while she's there.
And yes, the other good news is Nigeria's two-time former finance minister, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has been named the seventh DG of the World Trade
Woo, woo,
Organization.
woo.
And we've actually started this celebration since like October, when there was like a majority vote for her among the European Union member states, ambassadors from the European Union member states. So now she has been declared as the DG,
I
the
remember that the
seventh
United States
DG.
didn't want her.
Yes, but
So now
well,
she's been. But what are we celebrating exactly?
yes,
Because
but now she's
yes, it's
there.
good in
Yes, and
Nigerian. Is the first African, first Nigerian, first woman, woman there. So that's good news. That's good news. But I'm saying, what else are we supposed to celebrate? Because it seems people to think that because she's now the head of the World Trade Organization, is going to change some things like the Africa Free Trade Agreement. I don't know, what
okay.
are we really celebrating? I'm trying to get it.
If we want to look at it like move back and look at it, it's like a minority in quotes is being
Mhm.
represented. You get African and some developing nations don't usually get some benefits, so to say, especially with COVID-19 vaccine. And Ngozi raised it in
Mhm.
a press release, in her press statement rather, after she was
Yeah.
declared the DG. She said she would go ahead to make sure that there's like uniform distribution of COVID-19 health supplies to developing countries. If we notice, African countries, especially Nigeria, has been, is it denied?
No,
Like we don't have the
we don't have the
facilities to
funds.
take the COVID
I
19
mean, the Minister
vaccines
of
yet.
Health. I remember watching the Minister of Health say that at best we can expect 40% vaccination by the end of this year and 70% next year.
Wow.
That's these are
Wow.
just generous estimates. So
Ba- baby boy lifestyle is so far off. Oh my god.
So she's trying to make sure that even if the existing COVID-19 vaccine, if they can't get to these countries should be allowed to make their own vaccines and make sure they receive patents so that they can be
is that
distributed
is
in
that
the
under
country.
our jurisdiction? I don't know enough about the World Trade Organization, but is that not supposed to be like the World Health Organization's purview?
Yeah, yeah.
Again, I'm being careful.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because it has to do with sales. You know, they don't just give out these vaccines;
Okay.
countries buy them. So, since she has to do with trade, yes, she has. It's
Okay. That
about
makes sense.
distribution. You get, and it's
That makes
about
sense.
pushing it. Yes, pushing for it so that they can get their own vaccine. So hopefully, less represented countries, developing countries, can gain from
Yeah, congratulations to
position
her. I
there.
mean, let's not forget that
Hopefully.
she's a member of the Twitter board of directors. She's a board member on Twitter, Twitter's board of directors, and also Standard Bank, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, two-time financial minister, Nigerian finance minister in two different administrations, foreign affairs. So
Foreign affairs.
and of course, she has a history with the World Bank. That's cool. Congratulations to her. Congratulations to Ebi Ataodi. I'll be very interested to see the things that will happen with Netflix coming forward. Okay, let's go to something that is very close to heart. It speaks to what we are doing right now, with the podcasting or the articles you publish and all of that. Nigerian lawmakers are pushing a bill to ban, punish, disqualify, whatever word you want to use, people that are practicing journalism without a degree in media. What the hell is going on there, Emmanuel?
So what is happening is the Nigerian lawmakers, House of Reps to be precise, they are amending a bill, the Nigerian Press Council Act. They're amending the act that was enacted in 1992 during the regime of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, and that Press Council Act, the Nigerian Press Council, is like the body that regulates journalism activities in Nigeria. So basically, if you as a person, you have a problem with a journalist, you can report to the Press Council. Or if you're a journalist and you have a problem with an organization, you report to the Press Council too. So it does guide things regarding journalism activities in Nigeria. So with the new amendments, if you don't have a media degree, you might not be able to practice journalism in Nigeria, or you get punished. And if you have a degree in other subjects, you're given 5 years to get a postgraduate certificate in a journalism or media related degree, or you get penalized, as Muiwa has mentioned. So it's a whole of
This is crazy.
So to
Yeah.
what end? To what end?
yeah, they want to restore the lost glory of journalism.
What's
Right.
what's silly loss grade? See, this seems very targeted to me
Yeah.
because a lot of the people who this will affect, journalists that this will affect, are journalists in online media who are the most likely not to have journalism degrees,
Yeah.
as opposed to traditional media. So it seems to me that this is targeted because of how quick online media is. The story breaks, you publish it, you don't have to wait to publish it the next day and all of that. And then in light of all the recent happenings, the NSAS protest against police brutality, Lekki massacre, everything that has been happening, I think this is government's subtle way of trying to control that
Of getting
by
back.
putting
Yeah.
fear in journalists who are more likely to be playing in the online space, because it makes no sense to me.
Right?
It makes no sense.
I just believe that if you feel that there are some ethics that these platforms should follow, just lay them out, then we'll be able to tick the boxes. But then there's another side to that, because the government, these lawmakers have been trying to push the social media bill.
Exactly.
And we don't even know where to run, right? So, but now that it's out, even though it has passed the second reading, yeah, I'm sure stakeholders should be able to come up and request for their own
That's the
side of
worrying part,
this
that it
story.
has passed second reading. We
Yeah,
didn't know
there should
about
still
it
be a
until now.
public hearing, just
So
like
one more reading and to be an act.
yeah, but there should still be a public hearing like there was for the social media bill, right? The civil rights
Yeah.
organizations like Paradigm Initiative, they fought against it. I think that was in February 2020. So yeah,
Yeah.
if they should pass this stage, there should be a public hearing, and I hope a lot of people in the online media space, because I'm not banking too much on the traditional media space. But yeah, guys
Yeah.
like Fisher Yoshirombo, who works for Cable, who wrote
Investigative journalism stories, like the one about the prison, Ikoyi
yeah,
prison, the one about
Ayaba left.
customs, and
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Then Kiki
Yeah.
Modi, who narrated the Self for
Sex for
Grades. So
Grades.
a lot of people that don't have journalism degrees, or some of them.
Do you have a
I
journalism
don't
degree?
know,
None
yeah.
of us here has a journalism degree.
Well, I don't.
I might have to go and start to change synoptic
So-
gospels.
It makes and okay. There's an interesting point that was brought up on Twitter, and I agree. Many of the people, when they saw the story, is that they asked these lawmakers, do they have
Political science
a,
degrees.
a law degree? Do they have a political science degree? Some of them don't even have a university degree. So what's the idea behind all of this? As long as journalism is done purely and done right, I don't think you need to have a degree in that.
Oh.
It makes no sense at all.
When I saw this,
Well, even everywhere around the world, some of the most successful journalists do not have a journalism degree.
yeah, even in history,
So,
the Azikwe's, the Awolowo's, they didn't have journalism
Exactly.
degrees, and even Antoine Enahoro didn't even have a university degree. So it's
Yeah, so it's to me it seems very targeted.
Yeah.
It seems very targeted. But let's move away from government and all the annoying things. But okay, no, before we move away from government, I mean something is happening in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is one place where there's a lot of issues around digital rights, right? Because the Ethiopian government can switch off the internet for any flimsy reason.
at will.
Reasons as flimsy as we don't want exam
Yeah, exam
malpractice.
malpractice.
And and then Yinka and Adewale experienced that in 2019 when they visited Ethiopia, and they noticed the resilience of the tech entrepreneurs there.
hmm
Some of them had to have to maintain offices in Kenya. So whenever the internet is shut down, they just Ethiopia and Kenya are very close. They just move there to Kenya, get things done. When the internet is back, they go back. And then there were stories of people who we wrote a story. We'll put a link to that. Yinka wrote a very good story about the tech ecosystem or the digital ecosystem in Ethiopia
Mm.
and all of that. But and part of that is tied to the fact that the government, the only telecoms
Yeah,
company in the country
is
is government
yeah,
owned.
Ethio
That's
Telecom.
yeah, it's government run. So government can just do anything anyhow. But now there seems to be some good news. They opened as at last year they started opening up, or even 2 years ago,
hmm
and now they've opened bids for third parties to come and own telecom licenses in the country. And there's news that Safaricom is seeming to be a favorite.
Yeah,
Kenya Safaricom.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Ethiopia Communication Authority has not released an official statement yet, but Safaricom, they've come up to state that they've made the final 6 company shortlist of that will be bidding for 2 telecom licenses in Ethiopia. So yeah, there were initial 12 companies interested. So we don't know who the other 5 companies are yet, but Safaricom is making a very, very big push. They have backing from UK's Vodafone and Safaricom's Vodacom. So
Yeah.
they even got some debt funding from the US to aid this
Wow.
expansion.
They're all in.
Yeah, they're all in. Yeah, so the Ethiopian market is really, really big. And after Nigeria, they're the most populous country in Africa with
Yeah.
14
Yeah.
million people, and just 50 million people have access to mobile devices. So about
Yeah.
64 million people, thereabouts, still without
Plenty room for growth.
plenty room for growth. And we've even seen the likes of MTN. We've noticed they've been trimming down to size since last year. They sold out their Jumia stake, sold off IHS stake. Recently, they sold off a stake in Bix.
Probably for this reason.
Yeah, probably we can't sell. We can't really say, but yeah, they are.
And I mean, I can see why Safaricom is all in because the Kenya market is
Yeah,
saturated.
109%.
So there's no more room for
So
growth.
There's no more. There's nothing they want to do there.
And then there's the mobile money thing.
Yeah,
They should be able to
they
move their mobile money
Ethiopia
to
is
Ethiopia.
not giving room for mobile money to telcos.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so that's the things I would even like to see how this will work out because I'm very sure that the government will not want to give away its control on the internet space. So there may be some kind of conditions that Safaricom may have
Restrictions.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
They
agree
have
to,
to
and maybe
agree to.
MTN
I
too.
will tell you to off,
yeah,
off your mic or off light. Just off it.
we'll keep watching that space. Okay, so let's move to the last story of the day. Fintech. We all love fintech, Africa. But before that last story, there's something again. Fintech fraud in Nigeria. I mean, fintech fraud is a problem all over the world, but in Nigeria, it's a very serious problem that is not really addressed. A lot of the times, the fintech players silently use their phones to
To cover up.
cover up what is going on. And then we've seen the rise of many platforms like Voyance and Blacklist that have risen to try and solve the fintech fraud problem. But there are some interesting numbers that Emmanuel shared. NIBS, Nigerian Interbank
System.
Settlements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
From Q3 of 2020.
yeah. So the first 9 months, January to September, Nigeria lost up to 5 billion. Nigerian financial services companies, they lost up to 5 billion naira to fraud in the first 9 months of 2020. And the routes through the routes they came through social engineering, POS fraud, online gambling, and of course web channels. And the NIBS is saying, as people moved online, these fraudsters also moved along. So as internet activities increased, fraudulent activities also increased. I mean, in 2019, in Q3 2019, it was just 550 million. But in Q3 2020, we had about
2020.
3.3.
36 billion.
That's
naira.
crazy.
It's weird. In
That's
fact,
crazy.
most of the numbers are called in Q3 2020. So it's
I remember there was a case, was it last year, about Cowrywise and the travel influencer Fumi Oyatogun. Yeah, that she lost like millions of naira
yeah. I think I remember that.
through this kind of things. So saying, well, she got her money back anyway. I suspect that Cowrywise actually use their personal phones to, because that from the way it was described, that money went away. And again, social engineering. When it comes to that, there's actually nothing your bank or your financial institution can do when you yourself authorized,
Yes.
probably unknowingly, you authorized funds being
Them to be removed from your
Yeah.
account.
accounts. Yeah. So
So
that's crazy.
I think there's little these fintech solutions that document and try to help you blacklist fraudsters online can do, because social engineering requires you to be vigilant yourself. So I
Mm-hmm.
think most banks are trying to keep their users abreast of this, and they keep sending them messages that they should be careful who they give out their details to, your
Mm-hmm.
BVN, your card pin, your card number, and other sensitive information. So I think it's sensitization that we cut it for people not to
Yeah, but
fall prey.
sometimes why people fall prey is because these people sometimes have details about you, like partial details that, like, oh, how did they know it? So then you tend to trust them. Like if you're not aware that this is kind of happening, it's easy, you're easy prey, and you easily trust them because they have some details, which makes me suspect that of course, some of the bank
People,
staff are in cahoots with fraudsters, so they share this information to them. Definitely. So
yes, yes, it's
crazy
possible.
stuff. So finally, the big daddy of fintech in Nigeria, whether you like it or not, they're the big daddy. InterSwitch Quickteller, yeah, is going into e-commerce. So they launched Quickteller for Business. If you remember last year, I believe it was last year,
Yeah.
Paystack and Flutterwave launched different versions. So Paystack launched Paystack Commerce, and Flutterwave launched Flutterwave Store, which are like quick pages you can set up without having a website. You can create a payment link and list your products that you have. Then people click and pay and all of that. So Quickteller 2 has launched that. The question now is, why is Big Daddy doing this, and why did it take Big Daddy this long?
So it seems the Quick Teller is seeing like a huge potential in this market for e-commerce, and a lot of businesses are supposedly moving online. So I think they feel coming to this space and having a kind of broader reach, possibly than the likes of Paystack and Flutterwave, they might be able to tap into this. Or what do you guys think about it?
Well, me, I'm not sure. First of all, I'm not even sure whether these things are seeing interesting adoption. I mean, I don't have access to the numbers of Paystack and Flutterwave, but I don't really see. Again, of course, they may be seeing what we're not seeing. They see the numbers, they see how people transact, so they probably decided to do that. But I think it's more of a case of trying to capture these small businesses early, so that when the market explodes and is ready, they are there, right? That's what it looks like to me, more than any other thing. But I may be wrong. I may not be seeing the numbers. They may have seen patterns and habits in their back end that makes them realize that, oh, this is something interesting. And then for Quickteller to now enter the space, even though they took their time, maybe now Quickteller or InterSwitch is bringing validation to this, because whether you like it or not, they are still the big daddies, and a lot of debit card transactions still go through them. They have the switching license. Oh, of course, there's Intransact and there's a Team App that got a license 2 years ago or last year, a switching license. But Quickteller is still, especially for Mastercard, as far as I remember, most or if not all Mastercard transactions go through them. I stand to be corrected, but I think Paystack last year or 2 years ago finally got a direct link to paste them to Mastercard. I am not sure. I did not prepare to speak about this, so I did not. I'm being careful about what I said, but what I know is that for a very long time, Quickteller was the one process. So they may have seen things we're not seeing, which made them to say, okay, let's go into this space again. Or maybe it's just a whole. The idea is just to just do what is interesting and position you for small businesses. Uh, I'm not sure. And then when you compare it to being a merchant on e-commerce platforms like
Jumia and Konga.
Jumia, that will do a lot of the marketing for you, because Jumia has very good search engine optimization, where when you search for something, you want to buy something, Jumia is one of the first results, Konga is one of the first results, either organically or by ads, or as opposed to Paystack Commerce and Flutterwave Store, where yes, you have the payment link and payment page, but you still have to be the one distributing it, or whether you push it on your Instagram or your WhatsApp and all of that. So, and again, there's the worry about Facebook with Instagram and WhatsApp. That's a very once they activate that
That's a native
in
feature.
Nigeria,
That's is something else.
that's going to be very serious. I know. I mean, Paystack did something very interesting last year, where I think it was last year. They did some very nice things with Instagram. So they like trying to when they were promoting Paystack commerce. So they had like they created a couple of brands that they wanted to use to launch it, and they had like an Instagram page where each image, when you click on it, and then maybe you click on furniture and you want to buy more, when you click, it takes you to it's still within Instagram, takes you to a page tag created page for that merchant where you can now see what they offer. Then when you click to buy, it opens the payment page within Instagram, and then you process your payment and you go. But all it just takes for Facebook is to say, okay, we want to do this, and they just with a snap that the Zuckerberg has made the future native. And so I don't know. I know that social commerce is very interesting. It's getting very interesting. Even GIGL, logistics giant GIGL, is also trying to play in that space with GIG Go. And we talked about something
Yeah,
they
yeah,
launched
the class
recently,
plan.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, to help small
merchants. Yeah.
businesses. Yeah, so it's an interesting space, but I don't see much happening until the next 2, 3, 5 years. But I think for a lot of them, it's about positioning yourself early enough to be ready when the market is ready. So, but I would like to see again a caveat. I don't have numbers, so I'm not saying this from an informed place. I'm just saying this is my idea. That's what I think about the whole thing anyway. So it will be interesting to observe. We just keep watching that and see what's going on, and maybe reach out if you're willing to talk, whether it's Quickteller or Paystack or Flutter. Let's see what's going on there. It will be interesting.
All right.
Anyway, that brings the close to everything we've talked about today. There are many more stories we wish we could share, but time has gone. A lot of time. Yeah, there's Clubhouse and its privacy issues. There are many other things that's going on. But we'll put a link to every story that we've mentioned today in the episode notes, including the Yinka story about the Ethiopian digital ecosystem. We'll put that story in the episode notes. And yeah, okay, if you're listening for the first time, maybe someone shared this to you, or you saw a clip on Twitter and then you click to listen more. This is the Tech.Africa podcast. It goes live every Friday by 8 a.m. West African time. And if you want to know where you can get it, Emmanuel, where can they get it?
Yeah, you can get this podcast on Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, basically anywhere you can get your podcast, but not SoundCloud. Yeah, and if you don't like the podcasts,
Yeah,
apps,
definitely. We're out of SoundCloud.
Okay, yeah. So if you don't like the podcast app, you can go to podcasts.techpoint.africa and you get all the latest updates on that website. And also, don't forget our sister podcast, Built in Africa, and where we highlight the best stories of innovations, and startups, and entrepreneurs in Africa. So
In Africa.
yeah, you can head to any of all these platforms I mentioned earlier, or you head over to builtin.africa.
And of course, the digital currency summit that is taking place on the 25th of March, Emmanuel.
Yeah, yes. Well, don't forget, we're hosting the biggest and brightest minds in crypto. And of course, with everything that's going on with the CPN crypto ban, the conversation is very, very ripe. The discussion around regulations, the future of money. Now we're talking about stable coins. We're talking about central bank issued digital currencies. These are contemporary conversations that need to be had. And yeah, make it a date at the Digital Currency Summit is holding at 4 points by Sheraton. And yeah, head over to currency.techpoints.africa.
And you can get a ticket at currency.tech.africa. Okay, yeah, currency.tech.africa. If I'm parting words.
Okay, I just want to tell you guys to stay safe and stay positive.
Stay safe and stay positive. Thank you. And on that note, we say bye. Bye to everyone. Bye. Catch you next week.
Bye.